Hello everyone, my name is Armaiti May. I'm a veterinarian for dogs and cats. I work and live in Santa Monica, and I'm here today to provide some insights about vegetarian diets for dogs. So I've been a vet for a little over 4 years. I graduated from UC Davis Veterinary School in June of 2005. I have been vegan for about 10 years.
How did your veganism come into play when you were in vet school?
It's not something that has come up too much in our routine training. As far as vet school, we're taught that they need a variety of these nutrients and they usually do need meat, but certain cases it is recommended that dogs be vegetarian. There are health benefits to vegan diets for dogs in some instances, not only with respect to eliminating the harmful ingredients that sometimes go into commercially available meat-based pet foods, but also in that some dogs are actually allergic to chicken or beef or lamb or what have you. And this can manifest with skin allergies like itching, biting, scratching, licking the feet. There have been reports of rendered dogs and cats going into the pet food supply. I'm not sure how frequently that actually goes on, but I do know that whenever the ingredient list says byproducts, meat byproducts or byproduct meal, anything like that, what that means is all the slaughterhouse reject products, including meat from disabled, diseased animals, went into that pet food. This is meat that would not be fit for human consumption. It's no wonder that we're seeing increased incidences in degenerative diseases such as cancer, kidney disease, arthritis in our animal companions from eating these foods.
When people are getting upset about the vegan dog food thing, they always say, well, how could you force your dog to eat vegan? What is your take on that?
10,000 years ago, we domesticated these animals. So they are dependent on us for all of their needs: food, shelter, water, love. And I think it's very acceptable to feed a vegan dog food to a dog because it does meet their nutritional needs. And it is something that we're doing from a place of compassion and stewardship for all living creatures. To me, it's not really logical to only show compassion to one type of animal and then totally ignore another animal's suffering just because that animal is labeled as a food animal. Whole Foods markets, they do carry a number of vegetarian dog foods typically. It is important to ask, though, if you don't see it on the shelf, because sometimes if people are not buying it or it's not there and they think, oh, well, they don't carry it here, and then they don't bother to speak up about it or ask, then they may stop carrying it at that particular store. So if you go into one of these stores, Whole Foods for instance, and you don't see it on the shelf, ask them, can you start carrying this? And I'm sure they will gladly order it, especially if they hear from more people that they would like to have that.
How would you recommend transitioning a dog to a vegan diet?
What I would do is mix a small portion of the vegan food with the meat-based food initially, and then over about a 2-week period gradually increase the proportion of the vegan food and decrease the proportion of the meat food. So initially the dog may ignore the vegan food, and don't panic if that happens, but gradually he or she will become accustomed to it, and as that proportion increases, he or she will be left with no other option than to eat the new vegan food provided. And that's a good idea to prevent gastrointestinal disturbances such as vomiting and diarrhea, which can occur if a diet change is too sudden.
Where is the main protein source in vegan dog food?
The pet foods that you buy from the store are going to be what's called AAFCO approved, American Association of Feed Control Officials. They have certain standards that have been developed over the years of what the requirements are for various nutrients: protein, fat, carbohydrates, all kinds of vitamins and minerals. And so those foods have to meet those requirements.
Some vegan dog foods, they often have wheat, corn, and or soy. How do they come into play with the health of a dog?
It's a very small percentage of dogs who actually have a problem digesting wheat or an allergy to wheat. And I would say, although corn is notorious for being this excessively used food, the actual corn itself shouldn't be a problem if it's used in moderation and the animal isn't allergic to the corn. Now, as far as soy is concerned, in addition to those processing issues, we also have the concern about genetic modification, which can be a concern for corn as well. And that I don't have an answer for other than try and find organic, non-GMO products when available.
What do you think about making your own food?
There's another resource that's Vegetarian Dogs. It's a book that has recipes in it, and that's available from vegetariandogs.com, and it has recipes you can make from scratch. You have to take caution that you give a balance of different nutrients, which if you're feeding the same kind of food every day, there may be some trace minerals that the dog becomes deficient in, and there is a supplement mix that can be added if you do want to do home cooking that you can order from Harbingers of a New Age. Anytime you're giving a supplement, you need to be doing it appropriately, because if you're overdosing on one nutrient, that can affect other nutrients and create an imbalance. So that's why I generally recommend people to just get a pre-made vegan dog food which already has the right balance of nutrients. In the case of food items that you should not feed, don't feed onions because those can cause anemia. Don't feed chocolate. Chocolate can, of course, cause hyperexcitability, gastrointestinal disturbances.
Vegan puppies, can they be vegan right away? Do they have to wait till a certain age?
They should be allowed to nurse from the mom, of course, for the first 8 weeks of life, ideally. Once they're weaned, they can be put on a vegan diet, provided it meets all their nutritional requirements. Now, a puppy's requirements are going to be a little different than adults' requirements.
Are there any other signs that you can look for in their overall health to see if they're doing well on the vegan diet?
Well, their coat health should be good. They should have good energy. They shouldn't have excessive shedding or weight gain or weight loss. Their stools should be firm. They should have good digestion. There can be some issues that can come up similarly with the urinary tract, but it's very, very rare for a dog to become blocked. So you would probably see signs of issues with urination before there was an actual emergency. But I do recommend for someone who has their dog on a vegan diet, have a urinalysis done and have it checked to see if they're crystals or if the pH is too alkaline, because that can happen on occasion. There are certain breeds that need to be given extra precautionary considerations, and those include large breed and giant breed dogs. All of these dogs have a propensity for a condition called dilated cardiomyopathy, which is an enlarged heart. It can lead to serious problems if it's not treated. And there is some evidence that taurine and or carnitine, which are two amino acids that are generally found from meat sources, can play a role in this disease or the treatment of it or prevention of it. So if someone has a dog of one of these breeds, that it would be a good idea to get this checked out and perhaps supplement with taurine or carnitine if the vegan dog food does not already contain. There are some breeds that also are prone to urinary crystals and stones more so than others, small breed dogs. And so if you have one of those dogs, you may want to be a little bit more vigilant with monitoring their urination habits, getting the urine checked.
If it doesn't work, should you give up the vegan diet or should you just try different foods, supplements?
I would first try one of the commercially available vegan dog foods, which there are several to choose from. Pay close attention to the protein and carbohydrate sources in the foods, and if you notice a pattern of a problem with, say, corn or soy or whatever it happens to be, then it may be time to start thinking about either home cooking with, say, lentils and brown rice or quinoa or some other grain to provide the protein from a source that's not causing a problem. By and large, most dogs thrive on a vegan diet. Dogs are omnivores, so they can adapt quite well to a plant-based diet provided it meets all their nutritional requirements. If you have any questions or would like to contact me, you can visit my website, which is veganvet.net. And I do provide house calls in the LA area for dogs and cats.